Good afternoon, Your Excellencies, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here with you all today. My name is Hanako Montgomery. I'm an international correspondent with CNN, and I'll be moderating today's session on the new Silk Road, the Middle Corridor. Since geopolitical tensions like the Russian invasion of Ukraine have disrupted traditional trade routes, new pathways like the Middle Corridor are gaining more and more strategic significance. In 2024 alone, over 4.5 million tons of cargo was transported through the Middle Corridor, which is a 63% year-on-year increase. I think those numbers are pretty astounding, and it really is transforming the structure of global trade. And while a lot of new opportunities are presented to countries and to businesses alike, bottlenecks and hurdles still remain. So we'll be delving into these topics today with our brilliant group of panelists. I'd like to introduce each of them to you all. To my immediate right is the Minister of Transport of Kazakhstan, Minister Marat Karabayev. We also have today Mr. Kyriakos Karotis, the Vice President of the European Investment Bank. Also today we have Andreas Mate, Chief Executive Officer of the Austrian Federal Railways Company. We also have Mr. Rogerio Mendonca, President of Freight Equipment at Wabtec Corporation. Please also welcome Mr. Konstantin Limitovsky, the Chief Investment Officer at Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. And last but certainly not least, Mr. Yildiz Ostenchiev, Managing Director for Strategy and Asset Management of Samruk Kazyna JSC. Now, before we begin with questions, I'd like for each of you to start with a brief opening statement. 2 minutes, please, as we have a lot of questions to get through. Mr. Minister, please begin. Here's fine.
Well, welcome, Ms. Montgomery. Welcome, everyone. I was supposed I had a great speech here, telling what we are doing or how fast we are growing, but when I look at the audience, I see I know most of them, of those people, they are more experts than me. So I think that no need to give this speech. They know what is happening in this market. Nevertheless, I would like to point out, not on the figures, what we are doing. By the way, we mentioned that 4.5 million last year and 63% of increase. But in reality, if you look in 2021, this corridor used to be 800,000. And now, within the last 3 years, it ended up with 4.5 million, which means more than 7 times, almost 7 times of the increase for 3 years, which is good. And I truly believe that this corridor will hit by 2027 more than 10 million. At least we have the all proving figures in order to make this kind of statement, bearing in mind what we are, what kind of agreement we have with our main partners that will hit by 2027 10 million tons. That's the first thing. But what I would like to point out here in this audience, today, Kazakhstan is a great market for investors, especially in the transport sector. If you look on our economic growth, these 3-4 months, the economic growth of Kazakhstan is 6%, among which 25% belongs to transport sector. Imagine how big is Kazakhstan, oil and gas, mining sector, but one of the fourth of, 25% of that belong to transport sector. And it is today the highest growing sector in our economy because its growing rate was 22% by the end of April. That's the first point. And second point, what I would like to mention that our president, Mr. Kasım-Jomart Kemerievich Tokayev, put in front of us to make Kazakhstan a regional hub, and put a task in front of us to make Kazakhstan a regional hub, not only for the region, but in general between the east and west and between the south and north. For those reasons, we are implementing and we have started numerous projects, both in all sectors, like in automobile construction, railway, or in the aviation sphere. I would like to give just one of the key figures. So, transport sector will require more than 40 billion US dollars investment within the last 5 years. So, for example, in a road construction, this year we are starting the new projects with a total sum of almost 7 billion US dollars. For 1 year, we are starting the new project with a total sum 7 billion. An extra new projects in a railway, for example, more than 3 billion. What I mean is, like, if we consider the upcoming 5 years of the more than 40 billion US investment, 40 billion US dollars investment, then only this year we are starting the huge, big infrastructure projects with a total sum of more than 10 billion US dollars. So welcome everyone. This is a country to invest, and this is a country that your investment is secure and your investment will bring beneficial and money back to the investment that we have done. Thank you.
Sounds like you're kept very busy, yeah? Yes. Mr. Kakouris, please.
Thank you, Hanako. Let me begin by expressing my gratitude to our host for convening this timely and forward-looking discussion. It is an honor to represent the European Investment Bank and, more broadly, the European Union's strategic commitment at this significant forum in Astana. We gather at a pivotal moment for global trade and connectivity. Kazakhstan, historically, at the heart of the Asian Silk Road, is once again asserting its centrality as a connector of continents. Its geographic position, resource endowments, and growing ambition, as we just heard it from the Minister, make the country a natural partner for Europe, as well collectively navigate the shifts shaping for global economy. The European Union's strategy for Central Asia is built on a foundation of mutual respect, sustainability, and connectivity. Our shared interest, from energy security to sustainable development, underscores the need for strengthened cooperation. Through initiatives like the EU's Global Gateway, we are investing in smart, clean, and secure links across transport, digital, and energy sectors, all areas where Central Asia and Kazakhstan in particular have a critical role to play. At the European Investment Bank, the EU's financial arm, we see this cooperation in action. We have long supported cross-border large investments that foster integration, from road and rail infrastructure to clean energy and climate-resilient water systems. As the EU Climate Bank, we are also helping to align these investments with the goals of the Paris Agreement and the green transition. Partnerships are essential. That means strong cooperation between governments, multilateral institutions, and the private sector. At the EIB, we leverage our financing tools to de-risk investment, crowding private capital, and support innovative projects. From green logistics to digital infrastructure, we are ready to do more with partners in the region, especially in areas that improve regional connectivity, strengthen resilience, and unlock new markets. And I have to say, I'm very privileged because I just had a bilateral meeting with the minister, and I heard also extensively the plans of the country. It's the commitment for investments for the transport sector. It's there, and what I have to say always is that cooperation is the way that is going to really assist the country to succeed their targets. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Matei?
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to join you here in Astana for this high-level discussion and the future of the Iron Silk Road and the Middle Corridor. At ÖBB, which is 100% owned by the state of Austria and especially the ÖBB Rail Cargo Group, we see ourselves not just as a logistic provider, but as a virtual bridge between Europe and Asia. ÖBB Rail Cargo Group operates in 18 countries, in 14 countries with their own locals. Therefore, we are the second biggest rail logistic company in Europe, and therefore we are the market leader in Central Europe, and we are the market leader in the corridor between Turkey and Central Europe, a crucial part of the connecting in the Middle Corridor. And we bring a deep experience and the strongest network that connects the Middle Corridor with major industrial centers across the European continent. And the Middle Corridor, of course, is a game changer. It offers resilient route connecting east and west, one that aligns with our mission for sustainable, secure and efficient rail logistics. Kazakhstan plays a central role in this corridor, and we are committed to supporting its development through partnerships and innovation. And we believe this corridor has the potential to reshape Eurasian trade, and ÖBB Rail Cargo Group is proud to be part of that journey. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Limitovsky.
Thank you, Henke. I would like also to say that I'm very pleased to be part of this panel. Thank you for inviting AIIB. I'm representing Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, and let me also start with giving a big applause to the organizers of the Asian International Forum. It's an excellent event with lots of interesting presentation and very good and convenient logistics as well. So big congratulations. AIIB is the multilateral bank which, with the connectivity in its core. It's probably one of the few multilateral development banks which has the connectivity as a part of its core mandate with a clear targets of reaching around 30% of the portfolio in a connectivity assets. And we've been looking at the development of the trade in the region 10 years ago, and that's why we started with our very first project in Tajikistan between Dushanbe and the border with Uzbekistan, our very first project in 2016. Which is falling within the Middle Corridor. Since then, our portfolio in the region, in Central Asia and North Caucasus, grew to $7.5 billion. And 1/3 of that we can really relate to the Middle Corridor. And what is that? We are financing logistics in starting with China, the dry ports and logistics. We are helping Kazakhstan to develop roads and railways and roads in Uzbekistan as well, port infrastructure in Azerbaijan, and going further to Turkey, railways connecting eastern part with the west. Several stretches of the railway, and we are electrifying those railways as well. So all of that is sustainable infrastructure, green infrastructure. We recognize the importance of the diversification of the routes in this region. And indeed, Hanke, you mentioned that the tremendous growth of the recent period, but there was also gradual growth over the last 10 years. But indeed, it's explosive growth over the last few years, and that would require further investments into infrastructure. We are standing ready. Our portfolio, our pipeline is also rich of the project supporting connectivity. Our members in that theme. So let me stop here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mendonca.
Yes, first, it's a privilege to be here, part of this panel, such an important discussion. Very encouraged by the conversations happened yesterday and some of the conversations we've had with other people in Kazakhstan. A couple of comments that call special attention: the focus on the pragmatic approach, pragmatic investments, and the resilience, the resilient systems, resilient operations. This is something that connects very well with what we do. Webtec Corporation, we manufacture locomotives, among other things, and equipment for industry, etc., and electronic and digital systems for efficiency, safety, and productivity. We've been here in Astana, in Kazakhstan, and in Astana specifically now for almost 3 decades, doing modernization of assets, manufacturing locomotives. So we have two manufacturing plants here in Astana, plus 9 service centers. And globally, there is an installed base of about 24,000 locomotives running in different operations around the world. When we see opportunities like the middle corridor, this is definitely a very complex logistical program. And it brings all of the elements of efficiency, reliability. So that's why the concept of resilience, resilient operating systems, this is something that makes a lot of sense. And I think it talks a lot to how we believe we could contribute to the development of the system. Our partnership in the country has been a partnership of joint technology development, joint manufacturing. We have just recently increased the size and the volume of our operations in Kazakhstan. And as I mentioned, very encouraging to see the messages, very encouraging to see the approach. And that makes us even more comfortable in continue to partner and continue to invest in the country.
Thank you. And Mr. Otenchev.
Dear guests and participants of the panel, Samruk Kazina is the sovereign wealth fund of Kazakhstan with a total assets of $82 billion under management. Our portfolio companies operate in all strategic areas, including oil and gas, energy, uranium production, telecom, metals and mining, as well as transport and logistics. Saying that, we have a national rail and sea operator logistics company, Kazakh Railways. Kazakhstan is strategically located at the heart of the middle corridor, and 1/3 of the road spans through our territory. Both the European Union and China support this project being as part of Trasica and One Belt and Road Initiative. This road is powered by infrastructure. The Kazakh Railways is the largest owner of rolling stock in Central Asia with 1.8 thousand locomotives and 40,000 freight cars. Our mission is not only to enable connectivity, but also to position Kazakhstan as a bridge between Europe and Asia. Recent global developments have greatly accelerated interest in the middle corridor. This is an opportunity for Kazakhstan, and Samruk Kazina is strategically investing to turn momentum into permanence. Samruk Kazina, through Kazakh Railways, is delivering anchor projects along the middle corridor, including the Lanyungan Seaport and Xianport Dry Port in China, Altinkoy Dry Port and Aktau Container Hub in Kazakhstan, massive investment program in new construction and modernization of existing railway network. Our plans stretch beyond our country. We're eyeing projects along the middle corridor, including Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Eastern Europe. All these projects are aimed at doubling the volume transit from current 26 million tons in 2024 to 55 million tons in 2026. For investors, this is an opportunity to be part of the next chapter of Eurasian trade, one that's green, resilient, and commercially rewarding. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Now, Minister Karabayev, every time I look at local Kazakh news, there's mention of the middle corridor. Clearly, it's an exciting trade route, and there's a lot of keen interest. I'm wondering if you can kick off our panel by first answering this question of how would you describe the significance of the middle corridor to Kazakhstan in one word? Would it be Kazakhstan's future? Is it its hope? Is it its destiny?
I would describe it with a word. This is a transit corridor between Europe and Asia through Kazakhstan.
And is there just hope that there is going to be a future of Kazakhstan where the middle corridor is essential to its trade, its route? I mean, clearly there's a lot of investment in it.
If we look on the future of the middle corridor, of course, as any corridor that is just being opened or that is emerging, it has some its bottlenecks in terms of the capacity of the vessels, ships, etc., etc. But as I have already mentioned, so what we have today, as I mentioned, it used to be 3 years ago only 800,000 tons. Today we have 4.5 million tons. And we just discussed before it also, so what we have, one, we have a solid contract from the east, the goods to be transformed to Europe, and the volume increase 10 times up to 2029. This is only transit by container. And we have our own exporters using this corridor and going to Europe, both like metal, steel, aluminum, copper. This is also a possibility for our manufacturing companies to go to Europe. That's the second. And third issue that we are discussing and that we are promoting to export our oil by using this corridor and going to BTC. So summing up all of them, we believe that within the upcoming 3 years, I mentioned before 2027, that's a target that we are putting, and I'm sure that we will have more than 10 million. That's one point. And second point, this is going to be a viable and corridor that opens the big future for Kazakhstan's transport sector, both for exporting our goods and what is more important, for making a good, robust transit corridor.
Thank you. And I think some of our panelists touched on this topic, but clearly the middle corridor is not a simple, seamless trade route. It's quite complex. There are many different factors at play. How is Kazakhstan coordinating logistically and politically with neighboring countries to ensure smoother trade?
Well, the main thing here I would like to mention that our railway companies between Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, and Georgia, they created one single company, and this company is operating, being the same company for the whole corridor. And what is more important now, China is joining this single company. So these 4 main countries on this road, they are managing all the issues as long as they have a share by 25%. This is for their interest as long as they have the same amount of the share, and they are working on eliminating all the bottlenecks. With regard to Kazakhstan, we are investing on the bottlenecks, on eliminating of the bottlenecks of this corridor, more than roughly about, I suppose, in general, only in the railway sector, about $4 billion US. So this is a new roads that is being implemented this year, Dostok Moyuntu, bypass of Almaty, and now we are starting the new one, Seksevil Kızılcar. These are the new roads only on the railway construction. At the same time, the business is asking the corridor to be the green one. And on that perspective, we are discussing with our locomotive producer, with our local company, with Waptec, on using LNG during the transportation of this corridor. So we are meeting the upcoming requests and demand from the business, and being not only green, but also agile, making this corridor. So answering to your question, the main thing, what we are doing is to solve the bottlenecks, is to we created the single company with a basis, with an office here in Astana International Finance Center. And this one company, single company, is eliminating, working on eliminating all the bottlenecks and giving door-to-door and one-stop shop service to the customers. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Kakoudis, of course, the strategic significance of the Middle Corridor is very much front of mind now due to the Russian invasion of Ukraine, other geopolitical tensions. I'm just wondering if you can kind of encapsulate and capture what exactly Europe is hoping to achieve through cooperation with Kazakhstan, through development of the Middle Corridor.
First, very short, very short answer, like the minister said before. It's just, I think we have to bring Central Asia closer to Europe for trade and mutually. So, but connectivity today is not just about hard infrastructure. It's not just about roads. It's about creating resilient, efficient, and sustainable trade routes that respond to the needs of 21st century and the needs of the people of today's. It is about ensuring that countries like Kazakhstan and its neighbors are not just transit points, but value-added hubs integrated into global supply chains. And it's about building digital, energy, and transport corridors that work for people, the environment, and economies alike. Looking ahead, the EIB tends to proceed with different large financing operations that reforms the EU commitment to building sustainable connectivity across the Trans-Caspian route and the region. By establishing the Trans-Caspian Partnership, the EU is better positioned to support the development of energy and trade infrastructure in the region. It is Europe's strategic interest to promote, to promote these connections, ensuring that the countries of Central Asia can deliver their trade routes, strengthen resilience, and expand economic opportunity.
Thank you. And should the Middle Corridor develop in the way that Kazakhstan looks to do and in the way that Europe looks to do, how do you think it will change Europe's sphere of influence?
I don't think we are looking for influence. We are looking for cooperation in the area. Last April, we held the first EU Central Asia Summit in Samarkand, and it was there President von der Leyen expressed the commitment of Europe to come closer to the area. And it's looking forward, we see immense untapped potential in aligning trade and infrastructure with the twin transitions, green and digital. The future Silk Roads must be sustainable, inclusive, and forward-looking. That means electrified rail networks, digital customs systems, renewable energy integration, and infrastructure that can withstand climate shocks. And really very pleased to hear the minister saying that they are targeted to that direction. Kazakhstan's commitment to achieving the carbon neutrality by 2060 and its participation in the Global Methane Pledge demonstrate its dedication to environmental sustainability. The EU is eager to support Kazakhstan in these endeavors, sharing expertise and providing instruments to facilitate the transition.
Thank you. And Mr. Mate, from a European rail operator's perspective, do you see the middle corridor as a short-term solution to the Russian invasion of Ukraine? What do you think will keep investors, what do you think will keep businesses operating in the middle corridor should the war in Ukraine ever end?
Well, I think it is a crucial solution and is reliable and alternative for other, let's say, traditional routes. You said already the North route. So it minimizes the risks and creates also economic value along this route for the different countries. There are already some obstacles, of course, for the capacity of the ports, the customs regulations, but at the end, and at the least, the huge obstacle is in Europe, because to run a train through Europe, it's difficult than you run a train from China to Turkey, because it's the different technical regulations in Europe, in the different countries, makes it not possible to go with one train through Europe. So you have often to change the locos because of different regulations, and that's our strength because we have a solution for that problem.
Great, thank you. And Mr. Otinchev, I'm wondering, of course, Kazakhstan is a middle power, and there are other bigger powers in the region that are competing for a piece of the middle corridor, competing for influence in the middle corridor. How do you think Kazakhstan can maintain control and direction of the development of the middle corridor?
Yeah, you're absolutely right that middle corridor is becoming more and more important. Independent road, it's safe and quick. That's why a number of our partners and the governments and the companies, the institutions pay more and more attention to this corridor. This is why we do see the increasing of the quantity of transit. It was mentioned before that last year it was 4.5 million tons, but as His Excellency Minister said, a few years ago it was less than 1 million. And we see a big interest of our partners in the projects along this middle corridor. But Kazakhstan also is participating in the development of the middle corridor because, as I said, we are located at the heart of the middle corridor, and we as a country very interested in developing this road. That's why together with our partners we built or have already built terminals in China, in Lanyugan and Xi'an, and together with our Chinese partners we are also considering projects in Azerbaijan and Eastern Europe, and we do all the best, all the efforts to develop this road. And what are the challenges we see regarding the development of the middle corridor? There are a few bottlenecks. Sure, this is the infrastructure, and the second is the soft infrastructure. And regarding the railway infrastructure, we're trying to develop implement a number of projects in Kazakhstan, including the construction of new rail lines and the construction of second lines by modernizing and increasing the capacity. And, but also we're coordinating with neighboring countries, including the customs administrations. As His Excellency Minister said, that we created a joint venture between Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan and Georgian rail administration just to manage this process properly.
Thank you. And actually, that's a very good segue because, of course, as you all mentioned, there are still bottlenecks and hurdles, right, that remain in place that Kazakhstan needs to really overcome in order for the middle corridor to reach its full potential. So I'm wondering, Mr. Mendonca, given your experience, right, developing all these different railways, clearly the middle corridor is not a simple, seamless route. It's very complex. There's railways, there's roads, there's ships. How can you ensure that the corridor is resilient to different geographic limitations, to the different complexities in order to ensure that it does become this whole, this cohesive road?
That's a great question because it touches the core of when we define the resilient operations and the definition of operational efficiency. I think the corridor, as discussed before, it brings all of these geographical and operational challenges. And operationals associated with the range, associated with temperatures, associated with locomotive operational aspects. And I think one very important factor that has been a really pleasant experience with KTZ in Kazakhstan. There is a group of technical experts that know exactly what they need to operate the railroad as you described with efficiency and reliability. When we design a project with our customers, I think the core of our design principle is based on driving reliability, driving efficiency, and efficiency from a safety perspective, from a fuel perspective. The minister touched the aspect of sustainability. And we've been engaged with the local teams on developing what we call innovation with purpose. And innovation with purpose is looking at the challenges, the specific challenges of the line, at the specific challenges of the expected operation, and designing something that will fit that. So I mentioned earlier that we build these locomotives here in Kazakhstan, and these locomotives are very unique. They were designed and fit for the specific purpose. And as we navigate into the next technology of locomotives, which is part of the conversations we're having here this week, we want to make sure that we're incorporating these new aspects associated to sustainability, but fundamentally to reliable, resilient operation. Because when you're running a corridor of that level of complexity and with that level of density, you cannot afford a system that fails. You need a system that has a historical, proven reputation of reliability. And I think all of the different actors involved in this process, they take that very seriously. And we found here in Kazakhstan a group of technical experts, both on the rail operation side of KTZ and our teams and inside WebTech that understand that logic. And they work tirelessly on getting to the right answer for that.
I think you mentioned climate change, right, and this need for the middle corridor to be green. And actually, it's something that the president touched upon during his session yesterday when he mentioned that Central Asia was one of the regions most affected by climate change. I'm wondering how the middle corridor can be resilient, right, a key word that you described, to climate change when it's really, part of it is sort of out of our control.
Yes, and I think when we talk about the operation of the corridor, again, from a rail perspective, there's been a historical evolution on sustainability in general. And I go back to the concept of innovating with purpose. If we take, for example, the locomotives that used to operate in Kazakhstan a decade ago, when you modernize these locomotives, they generate over 30% of fuel efficiency. And when we talk about fuel efficiency, we translate that directly to reduction of carbon emissions. So a new locomotive model, the Evolution series locomotives that Kazakhstan operates today, they are 30% more efficient than the older technologies. So that alone is an important step. And I mentioned at the beginning also the electronic systems that drive more efficiency, that drive more safety and productivity to the rail. And I think those things build up in answering that equation of longer-term sustainability. And that's an important concept of innovating with purpose, making investments at the right time, making investments at sustainable, proven technologies that will drive the operational efficiency that's required while navigating through the sustainability equation.
Thank you. And Mr. Mendonca touched on, of course, security, right? And I think with any trade route, security is, of course, a very key concern. We're seeing that, of course, with Russia as well, traditional trade routes affected. So, Mr. Limitovsky, I'm wondering, how can the Middle Corridor, what kind of contingency plans can be implemented in the Middle Corridor to sort of safe-proof and future-proof it in the event of any future geopolitical risks or security concerns?
Thank you, Hanka, for this very important question. And I think to answer that, you need to look at the events which is happening in the region itself. So when we talk about the Middle Corridor, a majority of us, we're talking about the transit capacity, the transit potential. But we at AIIB believe that unless you incorporate the intra-regional trade, unless you would count on the development of the intra-regional cooperation, you cannot really count on the real prosperous development of that route or system of those. And over the last 3 years and longer, we can see, 5 years probably, is the right term, we can see that there is a tremendous and very great development of the international and intra-regional cooperation. I give you one example. Last year, we financed, together with the World Bank, ADB, us, and the consortium of the lenders from the Middle East, the Ragun hydropower project. That's the project which I remember was, I think that I saw the date. It was the date of my birth on the design documentation, original. So the project is going to be completed very soon. It's the hydropower project in Tajikistan. And this is going to be a big transformative project, bringing the power to not only to Tajikistan, but also to Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan, and in the future to Afghanistan. And it became possible because of the higher cooperation. One of these days, there was allegedly the tensions around this project, which could bring to the war between the countries. And now they are cooperating in this project. And we have many other examples. We are working today in the big hydropower together with our partners in Kyrgyzstan. And the same, there is Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan are formally participating there. This is a power project. Excellency, the minister mentioned the recent creation of the company which would facilitate the soft infrastructure around the Middle Corridor. That's a tremendous development, and it's a result of the huge effort and cooperation. This country knew about the benefit of that, but it's happening now. So this is the new potential. We at AIIB, when we look at the projects which we have financed around the Middle Corridor and everywhere else, we among the other thing, we look at what is to the people of this country in that project. It's very important, and any export project should bring the benefit to the local country. So my one word for the Middle Corridor is the future, because that future, which belongs to this region, which would help it to cooperate with the others, but would help tremendously to develop internally through the intra-trade. Thank you.
And sorry, did I hear you correctly in that you said it was on your birthday, this agreement?
Not agreement, it was the design documentation, yes. Original design documentation.
On your birthday.
So it took a fairly long period of time for the project to come to the last last stage.
I see, thank you. And just to sort of follow up on what you said there, of course, it's great when regions and countries in the region cooperate, but that is quite a difficult task, no? With the history behind each country, with the diplomacy. I mean, how do you manage that? How do you actually implement that so that it's efficient and that it's constructive?
I think that everything is, or a lot depends on the leadership. And in this region, we have a really very strong leadership over the last 5 years. The presidents are meeting very often. They are planning their infrastructure and developments and trade together. So, and this is the big development over the last period, and we can clearly see that it is progressing. Moreover, I can also say that in view of the new geopolitical headwinds coming from the other side of Atlantic, with the trade tensions, I think that this regional dimension, the regional forces bringing this country together is growing, actually, is becoming more and more pronounced. And we can see it in all the sectors which we are following, and these are the key infrastructure sectors. There is increased cooperation between the countries, and everything starts with the political commitments of the leadership. Thank you.
Actually, and on that note, of course, what's happening on the other side of the Atlantic, the United States, tariffs, right? Tariff policies, it's definitely front of mind for many countries and many economies. I'm wondering, I mean, this is a question for anyone on the panel, how the US President Donald Trump's tariff plans actually affect or perhaps present an opportunity for the Middle Corridor and any countries that want to collaborate.
I think it will increase the volume on the Middle Corridor because the trade volume between China, Central Asia and Europe go up because the trade volume shrinks between China and the USA. So it's a big chance for the Middle Corridor and the countries along this corridor. And I thought about what is the word for the Middle Corridor. I think it's the bridge for the future, and it's the opportunity to make a peaceful trade between the countries and the connection between China, Central Europe, and Central Asia and Europe.
I think this uncertainty on international trade exactly justifies the decision of Kazakhstan and the other countries of the region to promote and go ahead with the Caspian corridor or Middle Corridor, which is not just a transport or route. It's a strategic getaway linking Central Asia and Europe, offering diversification, resilience, and economic opportunity. I think this is the answer also to your question before on security. I mean, it offers this diversification. For the European Union, this is it's a vital piece of our global getaway strategy, which promotes sustainable, secure, and smart connections. The EIB is operationalizing on this, and we're really trying to cooperate with the countries on the region to promote and finance the projects that they are going to strengthen the East-West connectivity.
Mr. Lematovsky, I think you raised your hand.
Yes, thank you very much. It's a huge challenge, a new big challenge for the region, but all the challenges are coming with the opportunities, right? And I think that the country is, we are revitalizing the ancient Silk Way in order to really bring the diversification to the roots between East Asia through Central Asia, involving Central Asia to European part. And this is the new old route which is emerging because it is becoming more efficient, it is becoming a real alternative for the possible disruptions of the other routes, and which would play its important role growing more, maybe not that quickly reaching the level of the Northern Corridor, but nevertheless becoming a security for that great cooperation between East Asia, not only China, East Asia and Southeast Asia and Europe.
It's like learning from history to create something new, I think is the sentiment here. Gentlemen, I think we're slowly running out of time, so just a final question for you all to answer individually. Maybe we can start with you, Minister Karabayev. In one sentence, or maybe two, what is the single most important thing that needs to be achieved or needs to happen for the Middle Corridor to be fully at its capacity, to be fully functioning and running in the next 5-10 years?
Maybe two words, two sentences. One is that we need to eliminate all the bottlenecks. So we have a signed roadmap, what country, what should do, what country, what should do, yeah? What should be done in each country. That's one sentence. And second one is the goods should be vice versa. Now the goods are going from China and from Central Asia to Europe, but we need to have a goods from Europe to China or Central Asia. This is the two main things that I would like to highlight. By the way, coming back to the question about the climate one, I would like to make to add one other point of the other side of the Middle Corridor. Now we are all discussing about the transportation of the goods. But if we look on the future of the Middle Corridor, I would like to highlight two things. One is that we are now discussing to have a cable through the Caspian Sea and then through the Black Sea in order electricity, renewable energy being produced here in Kazakhstan to be transported to Europe through this cable. This is also the Middle Corridor. That's one issue. Second issue, that we have a big investor, German, Swedish company called Swiwind. They have already started implementation of the big project, hydrogen project, which is a 50 billion euro investment to the west part of Kazakhstan to produce about 40 gigawatts of the electricity, which is 12 million tons of the ammonium. This is a hydrogen project. And now our private company in Aktau, they are discussing how to transport this ammonium, this hydrogen, from west part of Kazakhstan to Europe. So bearing in mind these two things, this is a cable to transport renewable energy, and this is a big project in the West Kazakhstan, the hydrogen project to be transported to Europe. I would also make a statement that in the future, so it again, connecting the mind, shaping the future, So with the title of this Astana International Forum, so it is again, I would call the Middle Corridor as a corridor to make Europe greener. This is so renewable energy and hydrogen all together to be transported to Europe. This is a corridor to make Europe greener. This is one of the
to address climate change issues, and then also, like you said, making it a two-way street.
Yes.
Europe to Asia as well.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I applaud on this. I applaud on this, and also this is what I like, what it surfaces here, the focus on sustainability, inclusivity, and the climate change and climate-aligned investments that they are needed, and the commitment by the government that they are going to that direction. As the EU Climate Bank, European Investment Bank, we do assure that connectivity does not come at the expense of the environment or social equity. We support projects that are future-proof, link and transporting resilient projects, smart logistics, and renewable energy integration. I'm really glad to hear the Minister about energy connectivity. I can add also digital connectivity, and this is what we have in mind when we're talking about the corridors. Thank you.
May I add here? We started actually, this is a big project of the fiber optical. The construction of the fiber opticals through the Caspian Sea has already been started. So this is like that you mentioned, digital connectivity. This is something new that is happening with a middle corridor. This is not a plan, this is the project that is already under construction.
Already implemented.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Mate?
Yeah, to reduce the infrastructure bottlenecks, we have two different gorges on the border, Azerbaijan to Georgia on the one side, I think, and some bottlenecks in the infrastructure, but I've yesterday learned there's a strong effort to reduce these bottlenecks in the infrastructure. And the second bottleneck is unclear customer regulations between the countries, and so there's a long waiting time on the borders, and this should be reduced in the next time. And I think it's possible to the strong cooperation between the countries in Central Asia, and later on also the cooperation between Central Asia and Europe.
Time for cooperation. Yes. Thank you. Mr. Lematovsky?
Last year, AIIB together with ISDB and MCDF financed a study on the bottlenecks around the middle corridor. And one of the main conclusions of the study was that it's actually soft infrastructure, which is, with a little investment, can substantially facilitate the trade and the movement of goods both ways. And for the hard infrastructure, for the roads, airports, and everything, I think that the governments and the people of the region can rely on the sources of financing which are available for that. But majority of the soft infrastructure has to be done by themselves. And we are standing ready to advise and all that, but the harmonization of the rules, digitalization of the systems, unification of the documents could help tremendously to improve the efficiency of the corridor. And it's needed. It crosses two seas, right? So I think that this is the liquidation of the bottlenecks with the soft infrastructure primarily focused.
Using digital infrastructure to really streamline and simplify the logistics. Great, thank you. And Mr. Mendonca?
Yes, again, I'm very encouraged by the level of clarity that we are discussing, some of the challenges and some of the barriers there. I think the players understand really well that for the success of the corridor, maintaining the focus on operational reliability, operational efficiency is key, and the aspect of investing for long-term sustainable technologies, how these things come together in a very pragmatic, in a very direct way, and I see the players being very decisive in doing these things. So it feels really strong that there is a good level of acknowledgement of what the challenges are and how to attack them.
Transparency is indeed key, right? Because how do you solve a solution if you don't identify the problem? Yes, great, thank you. And lastly but not least.
The middle corridor is already efficient and fast in terms of the speed of good delivery, but to further development of the corridor, according to my opinion, the most important ingredient or factor is the partnership between the countries and the organizations along the middle corridor.
Thank you. Indeed, I mean, the middle corridor has many different players, right? And if you're not cooperating, then you're competing, and that could spell bad trouble, indeed. Thank you all for your time today. Thank you all for attending this panel discussion about the middle corridor. I hope you got some great and fresh new insight about the challenges, but also the solutions that Kazakhstan and its partners are dealing with and are developing in order to make the middle corridor develop and really reach its potential. Thank you very much.
Thank you.